All right, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. Morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I got my coffee. I got my Pellegrino. We're ready to dive right into it. A lot to go over, guys. Levels are leveling yesterday. Insane session. These are one of those sessions that there's so much volatility in sessions like yesterday where there is a lot of money to be made. We're going to talk about everything that happened yesterday. In particular, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on SPY this morning, right? We have a massive upside move on the S&P 500 despite all of the negative geopolitical nonsense that is being produced, right? Levels are leveling, market's moving higher, market does not care, right? Market maintained demand yesterday, same demand we spoke about, and market has ripped higher off that level. We're going to talk about where we are now, though, because we are now at critical levels here. We are back at that critical supply zone, the level of all levels. There's a lot to go over this morning, guys. Kwame, welcome in. SPY went crazy after 12. Yep, it did go crazy at 12 o'clock yesterday. Absolutely insane. I was at Costco yesterday after 12. So transparently, I did not catch anything yesterday besides a little bit of an upside trade off of my 596.50 level. I caught a little bit of a trade, a little scalper yesterday off my demand. Caught a little bit of some other trades, but really that was it for me yesterday. Very. I would say normally I would take a lot of trades in a session like yesterday, but yesterday I really didn't. Now, granted, yesterday was the day that you really wanted to be at that setup for a longer period of time. Why? Because the market was so incredible, right? Massive upside move. We have a lot to go over this morning, though. We're going to talk all about it today's session. We have, how many people do we have here this morning? We have about 700 people here this morning. It's 8:34, so you guys are here. You guys are ready to rock into it. So let's dive right into it, guys. So SPY chart we'll talk about, guys. We'll talk about the 605 big supply, 604, 605 massive level. That's a channel high. We're going to go over that this morning. We're going to go over the ES levels this morning as well. Of course, you guys know it. There's a major level that I want to see hold today, right, on the ES, and it's 6080. 6080 is the major level I want to see maintain. We're going to talk about this level here in ES's chart. This is the critical level I want to see market maintain for bullish momentum. We'll talk about it. We're going to go over the QQQ, very large demand below. We are back at the CPI highs this morning. We have critical demand below, and we are setting up for a potential channel break this morning. We have a potential channel break. We're not fully there yet, but we are setting up for it, and we are going to talk about this today. We are going to go over something that I do not want to go over. Tesla. The reason why is because, goddamn, this was the trade yesterday. This was the absolute trade yesterday. I hope some of you guys caught it because my ass didn't catch this one. I caught SPY, a little bit of SPY action, but I did not trade this, and this was so beautiful. I'll talk a little bit about why I missed this one yesterday. The reason why was because I focused a little bit too much on the SPY supply and was a little bit hesitant in going long while SPY was back at that key level, even though Tesla was was relatively strong and broke above the 336 level that we were talking about for weeks. So this was actually a great trade yesterday. If you guys caught this, that's awesome. Sue, I already see Sue in the chat already caught this one. This was probably the best trade yesterday. If you caught this, you should be happy. Okay, so besides that, today's session we're also going to go over AMD. We're going to go over Nvidia. We'll go over the Nvidia, a little bit of relative weakness yesterday. The reason why Nvidia is relatively weak is because you do have Jensen selling. Jensen has been one of the main insiders in this selling you're seeing on the stocks. So we'll go over that today as well. We'll go over the SMH. We're going to go over Amazon. We're going to go over Apple. We're going to go over all of the big ones, guys. We'll go over as much as we can, and we'll have a nice, relaxing pre-market stream this morning, okay? So besides that, in terms of our economic data and earnings reports, you can see earnings reports. It's really not so important. Today's session, Tuesday, June the 24th, we have FedEx and BlackBerry reporting in the after-hour session. Nothing of importance going into our session ahead of us, okay? In terms of economic data, today is where things become interesting, right? Yesterday, we did have some PMI data. We had some 10 o'clock existing home sales data. But the real data today is going to be the Powell testimony. So Powell has a testimony today at 10 o'clock. It's also joined together with consumer confidence. This is going to be a very big release at 10 o'clock today, okay? The problem that here's the issue, right? Last week on Monday, we had a very explosive session. Market ripped and we had beautiful upside. And then all week after Monday, we slowed down. It was like a big upside move and then we slowed down all throughout the rest of the week. Today's session, you don't want to see the momentum stall out, okay? You want to see momentum still there in the market. And there is cause of concern today because we do have 10 o'clock data. Maybe we don't get that big move prior to 10 o'clock. I hope that we do see the big move today, but I would probably argue it's going to be somewhere around 10 o'clock or a little bit post 10 o'clock where the big move comes in. So even if you are waiting 30 minutes today's session to take a trade, I think it's fine to do so. Why? Because again, you do have big data at 10 o'clock and you also have the Powell testimony there as well. So be aware of that going into our session ahead of us. Big data, 10 o'clock. Tomorrow also you have Powell speaking again. Just keep in mind this is going to be a sort of a essential theme of this week is going to be the Powell testimonies. Okay, so besides that, let's dive into our charts. I don't want to waste any time on anything else today. We need to talk about what's going on here on the SPY chart. Welcome in, guys. I'm seeing a lot of people here, and we only have 200 likes. I'm gonna leave it for now, but I'll come back to that in like 10 minutes and see how we are with that. Okay. SPY chart yesterday. What happened yesterday? So yesterday's SPY basically just held demand, right? The description of yesterday's live stream in the morning was big demand below, right? The big demand below was that 593. We talked about it on Friday, but really didn't get the full grasp of it until Monday session. In Monday session, we spoke about the massive demand on SPY below, right? And the demand below on SPY was the 593 level. You can see we came back into it around 12 o'clock. We ripped higher off of it. We also produced some trend-based entries yesterday too. If you are a trend-based trader, which I am one of them, right? If I see a nice uptrend in the market, if I see us trending higher in the market, right, I will look for a retest, pullback, long upside trade, right? So yesterday there were opportunities for longs. There were opportunities for longs back in demand here. There were opportunities for longs back in demand here. That's where really the opportunities were. And there also were opportunities on reclaims above our demand zones here as well. So there were 3 different long opportunities yesterday in SPY. Longs here, longs at open, longs over here, and longs over there. There's actually 4 different opportunities. So there were decent long opportunities yesterday's session using the levels we talked about. This morning, though, here's the issue, right? So markets moved higher off of demand. If you loved demand yesterday, right, because you said, wow, there's critical demand below, right, and the market can if the market buys it up, we can look for upside. Well, if you have that same mindset yesterday, what should be your mindset this morning? Well, here's the problem, right? We've just moved from one extreme low to one extreme high. It's kind of like going from the Antarctic to Miami or something, right? Or maybe like somewhere at the equator. Okay, we've gone from like ultra cold to ultra hot, right? And that's the issue we're going to have this morning. The issue we're having this morning is that market is moving higher, but we're moving higher back into extreme supply. This is good if you were long yesterday. It's good if you scalped longs yesterday. But today's session, I would only look for this to happen today. For me to trade this moving forward, I would want to see a strong clearance above 605. If we clear 605, break and retest, upside trade for a move higher. Why is 605 so important? 605 is so important because it's the channel high. That's very simply just what it is. It's the channel high. And we are right below the channel high this morning. If we can clear 605, that's where real upside comes in. Okay, that's where upside comes in. And where do we go to? We probably go to 613, right? 610 is the next big hourly level. You can see 608, and then you can see 609 to 610, that whole area over there. And then finally, all-time highs here at 613. We are only a few dollars away from our all-time highs. There is a very strong argument that if we clear the 605 high, we should see systematic upside for a few days in a row back into these highs, which is only about 1% away. So market upside is very valid if we clear 605. But for now, where do we go? Because we are rejecting supply, and you can see that there was supply rejections that came in previously. Rejections here, rejections there, right? The market is back at supply. Now, we're not bearish right now. Market's still very, very clearly upside trending, right? But what I will be looking for today's session is that I'll also be looking for pullback longs. The pullback longs that I would watch are going to be as follows. It's going to be looking for a 602 pullback long, or it's going to be looking for 599 pullback long. Those are the two pullback longs I have on SPY's chart. So pullback long number 1 and pullback long number 2. Now, these pullback longs are good on the SPY chart, right? You can see we're just looking for a pullback to the Friday 13 highs. We're looking for a pullback to that Monday hold level, the Tuesday high level, right? It's a very clear level there at 602. But if you want a stronger reason for why we should be looking for pullback longs today, look at the ES chart, and we'll go over one level here in particular. The level that I want us to talk about today is this ES 6080. 6080 ES is a big level. If we can pull back this demand today on the ES chart, right, this for me would be my top watch for longs, right? Now, granted, I still will look for longs on momentum too, right? If we clear above, and this is interesting too, because you are seeing this right now, and we're doing this live because, again, sometimes we have to do this analysis live. You are seeing that SPY is technically below. This is so important right now, right? We are below these highs over here from Wednesday, right? The Wednesday, June 11 highs, we are below it, right? Right now, we are trading well below that Wednesday's highs. On the ES chart, we are technically above that level, right? We are actually turning that Wednesday high, the June 11 high, into support this morning. So you could argue right now that we have a channel break on the ES chart, but we don't have a channel break on the SPY chart. That is very important, right? Why is it that we have a channel break on the ES chart, but not a channel break in the SPY chart? And what must happen for us to continue? For me, on the ES chart, yes, and it's weird to say this, but it does look more bullish. It should be the same, but it's not. Obviously, it's not. There's a discrepancy here. ES chart is actually setting up a long opportunity right now off these previous highs, the channel high, which would be 6120. That being said, I still would look for longs at demand today. If we do pull back the demand here in ES, I would look for longs back at that. I would look for longs back at 60.80, right? We pull back there. That's a pullback long. That's a pullback long spot. 60.80 pullback long. Or we could look for the break and hold above the highs here, 61.40 and change, 61.40 and change, upside move higher, right? But to be honest with you, this is your top watch for longs, right? 60.80 is your top watch for longs. This break and retest above highs is not really there for me, right? I don't really love it on the ES chart. I like it more on the SPY chart, right? The SPY chart, I can very clearly see if 605 breaks, the channel high breaks, I'm looking for upside move, right? So for me this morning, 605 breakout on the SPY chart or 602 bounce. On the ES chart, I would really just be watching a 60-80 bounce. Those are the only things I'd be looking for today here on the ES and SPY chart. If we do fail below 60-80, right, this is your ultimate bear case scenario, and we can look for shorts and then move back down to our 60.38 and even back into our channel lows here, back at 59.82. Something so interesting yesterday, guys. Did you guys see where we held at 12 o'clock? While I was at Costco shopping yesterday, right, like an absolute buffoon, look at this. Look at the ES chart yesterday. So a few things we did. Yesterday, we grinded higher, right? We set up a pullback long here at demand. This is where I took longs yesterday, back at my demand, 60.40 pre-market high. We spoke about this pre-market. This was a good long opportunity. Sure, you made some money, right? Money was made there. But the best long opportunity was 6,000 ES. This was incredible, right? And I get so excited about this stuff because I love this, right? This is so big for me. This is like, and we're going to miss opportunities all the time, right? I'm going to miss opportunities all the time. But I love seeing that there are opportunities. Even if I'm not there for every opportunity, as long as I'm seeing these things happen and you guys are seeing these things happen, that's the most important part. And obviously, right, you do want to trade these two, right? You want to catch as many opportunities as you can. But this, just seeing the market respect technical levels yesterday, right? Holding our demand at ES, beautiful pre-market highs, 60.40, turning into support, breaking retest, upside trade. Then we pull back to 6,000 ES, and this is the critical demand below. We spoke at pre-market, and we pin bar off of it, forming the best possible long entry. So again, even though there's all this political stuff out there, right? Across different Cs, levels are still leveling. This morning here in ES, the level to talk about that we must go over is simply still 60.80. If we are above this level, bullish. If we're below this level, bearish. Let's move on. We are now going to talk about the first ticker of the day. Let's talk about Qs, which is not the first ticker of the day. It's a little bit of a lie. Qs. On the QQQ chart, 533.50, 535. That's your level this morning. If we are above this level, we're still bullish, right? I'll be watching this today. Can we pull back long today back into this demand zone? If we can, set up a long opportunity there for a little bull flag trade, upside momentum, right? That's what I'll be watching going into our QQQ session today, right? A little bit of a big zone, I would say, right? Between 535 to 533.50, but that's what I have here. I have the Friday's highs here, and I have that Monday's highs here as well. So those are the two things I'm watching, right? Can we pull back into our demand today? If we do, that's where upside comes in, right? So looking for longs back in demand, looking for longs back in demand. That's what I'm watching today here on Q's chart. There is a very clear supply here. The CPI highs here at 537.50. You can see CPI highs here, 537.50. Market has to clear above that level, right? Kind of like SPY, right? Yeah, SPY and Qs are very much similar, right? You have the SPY level at 605. You have the QQQ level here at 537.50. You have the 602 level demand below, and you have the 535 to 533.50 demand below. And this is a little bit of a wider range here in terms of the zone, but this is what I'd be looking for longs today. Can we pull back into the zone today? Long side trade. If we fail below this level, right? If we fail here, shorts and then move back down lower. And this would be the saddest trade that I will take, because I would take it, but it would be sad. The reason why is because I'm so tired of this dreadful range, right? But again, that's what I'll be looking for going into our Tuesday session, right? Without further ado, guys, I want to talk about, we'll do NQ quickly. I'll just show the NQ chart quickly before I move on. You can see CPI highs here at that 22,321. We must clear that for more sustained upside. Besides that, you should be looking for this, right? You should be looking for this pullback long here. 21,130 is your precise level this morning. 21,130. We look for longs there. That's it. That's our only long spot we have for demand here. And then above these highs for continuation trades. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about our first ticker of the day. Let's go to our Tesla chart. So the reason why I'll say this over and over and over again, right? Seriously, I am here, right? Because I don't really have to be doing this pre-market, right? Seriously, it's not something that there's no real reason for you to be doing this. The reason why I do it is because you guys need to trade these levels on your own, right? This, for me, this 336 break retest was the best trade yesterday in Tesla. It was absolutely incredible. Now, I didn't even take it, right? And that's why I do these pre-markets, is because you guys have to be able to execute on your own. And in order to execute on your own, you need to have levels in front of you, right? And many of you guys probably know how to chart yourselves, right? So I'm not saying you don't know how to chart. You're here obviously just because, again, sometimes it's good to see someone else reconfirming levels and going over things that you probably weren't looking at, right? But the level yesterday on Tesla's chart was 336. Either if you came to this pre-market webinar or you didn't come to this pre-market webinar, right? You still knew it was 336. Why? Because that was the critical supply, right? If you go back to what was going on here in Tesla prior to yesterday's session, we knew the level was simply what? It was 332. It was 336. If we cleared 332, we have an upside move into 336. And if you cleared 336, we would have an upside move back into 350, right? And 350 was the key level that we were going to move into. And the reason why we moved into it on such a high volume was because we had a very low volume. We had very low volume between 336 and 350. The reason why I'm saying that is because you can see here we have big upside, big downside, big upside, big downside, big upside, big downside, ping-ponging back and forth. Therefore, when you clear these levels, you were very likely to see a move back into these highs, right? Because there is no level of resistance between 336 and 350. That was the idea yesterday, and that's why this chart moves so much. Something else that happened too is if you do a measurement of the flagpole, and this is for me, this is not how I conduct my analysis, but it is important to see kind of how other people would view upside moves. I am more level based but this is a logical thinking too. It's a little bit of logical thinking, okay? The big flagpole upside move was about a 15 to 16% equity move, okay? So 16 to 15% equity move. A bull flag trader is going to say that if we clear above the bull flag highs here, right? The bull flag high trade here, right? Which is 327, 328 and change, that we should make the equal magnitude move higher. So the argument would be that Tesla should go to 377. Now, granted, I'm not saying this, right? I am not saying this. I'm just saying what other bull flag traders will say. They'll say this should make an equal and opposite magnitude move to the initial flagpole, which should be back into 380. I'm not saying it. You didn't hear it from me, but that's what they're saying. Okay, that is what they're saying. Now, from a level standpoint, where is Tesla right now? Tesla is at 350. Okay, Tesla's at 350, and Tesla has made a big move yesterday, right? This was the biggest move yesterday, and it was big, right? Moving forward, where is the next level? 336, big demand. If we pull back to 336 at this point, if we pull back to 336 demand, I don't think it's going to do it because it shouldn't do it. This should not do that anymore. In order for this to be an uptrend, you don't want to see this because this would just be too much, right? It shouldn't pull back there. Where should this pull back to? Where's the lowest point this should pull back to? That still makes it bullish. It still makes it a bullish pullback. The lowest pullback should be where it held yesterday, and that was around 344. So today's session on Tesla, what you should be watching is you should be looking for a 344 demand bounce. That's what I would be doing. This is the only thing I'd be looking for in Tesla is can Tesla hold 344? If it holds 344, upside move there. Is there demand at 336? Yes, there's demand. I just don't know if it's going to hold if it tests it again. If this is an uptrend, right, you have a big consolidation, right, uptrend, right, big move higher, we should form a low here because you have a high, a low. We must form higher lows for the structure uptrend to continue. So look for a 344 demand bounce. That's what I'll be watching for today's session. Where's the next big supply? Next big supply is at 367. Okay, 367, next big supply. You do also have a level here at 350, but the next big level that I'll be watching for here in Tesla is 367. Okay, moving on. I want to move on. I'm going to move a little bit faster today, guys, because we spent way too much time. Nvidia. Nvidia has some inside selling. There was news this morning. On inside selling. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang sells stock for the first time in 2025. This is big. Market, you kind of saw a little bit of that yesterday, a little bit of lagging moves yesterday on this chart. He sold about $88 million worth of shares, which is about 11 million shares. 11 million shares. Okay, interesting. So 11 million shares. And that's crazy because so if he sold 88 million worth of shares, so that's 88 million $112 divided by how many shares did he sell? How many shares did he control? Oh, I see. Okay, so he didn't sell this many shares. Obviously, I was like, that's crazy. There's something is wrong here. Okay, so I was literally doing like little math right now, seeing what was going on here, what he actually sold this for. But anyway, he sold 608,000 shares, which that makes more sense. So 608,000 shares, and that means that he sold this for $145 a share, right? So on average, yesterday, Jensen was selling this for $145 per share. So that shows a little bit why this chart was a bit weak, right? You saw a little bit of some lagging moves yesterday on Nvidia, despite the market moving higher. What would I be watching on this chart moving forward from a technical standpoint? From a technical standpoint, 146 is a level that must break. If we can clear 146, that's where more sustained upside comes in. Is there a short on Nvidia? Is there a potential short on this chart? Yes, there is. If this clears back under 145, I would look for shorts, right? If we see us fail back below 145, this could be a shortable move and then move back down to 143. That's what I'd be looking for today's session on that Nvidia chart. Yes, Jetson, I agree with you, man. That's what I'm saying, right? Sometimes charts are going to go or they're not going to go, right? Looking for 336 is not logical anymore. It's not logical, right? If it pulls back to 336, understand what that means. Think as a smart trader here for a second. If we pull back to 336, that means this chart just dropped $20. It's a 5%, 5.5% equity move. Something's wrong, right? Something's wrong there. So let's be careful if it does happen, okay? But back to NVIDIA, 146 big level, 143, 145 big level. Those are the two big levels this morning session, okay? Why do we have so many people here this morning? We have 1,500 people here this morning. I don't know what everyone's doing here. You guys should go somewhere else. There's too many people. I think if I hit a certain number, you guys are gonna lag my computer out. Anyway, AMD level this morning on AMD. Level yesterday at AMD was 125. Unfortunately, no trade was presented for me yesterday. 130, you can see 130 was a level. 130 we held, the ripped higher off of it. We failed 130, downside move. Today's session on AMD, I would argue you should watch this 133, these previous highs here. You can see a series of previous highs. You have a high here from Friday session, a high here from Monday session, double top highs here. This is a very wonky chart. This is not something that's so clear to me. But I can tell you this, right? If we are above 133 this morning, turning these highs and these highs into support, this is just going to grind higher and zombie grind higher in 140. So as long as we are above 133 this morning, we are bullish, very simply. AMD 133 above, we are bullish. If we fail below 133, we go back to 130, it's still bullish there. There's demand there. Look for longs off 130. If you pull back to 125, we're still bullish there. Look for longs off 125, right? Nothing is changing here. 125 big demand zone, 130 big demand zone, 133 is now a new level that's been formed. 133 is the previous Friday's highs and then Monday's highs yesterday's session. If you want to look for longs off 133 today. That's what we're looking for today here in AMD. If you fail below 133, downside back to 130. Okay, that's AMD. Moving on, SMH. On the SMH chart, 260 reclaimed yesterday, right? Look how critical 260 is on the SMH. This is what I was saying. If you are a chip trader, you are trading with semis, you're trading with the SMH sector in mind. Big upside above 260, break, retest, upside trade. Downside came in under 260, big downside under 260, big reclaim up 260, upside, right? The level, the pivot, the key level to watch this morning is 260. If you're above 260, we're bullish. If we're below, we're bearish. MU has earnings coming up. Earnings on Wednesday session, earnings tomorrow. On the MU chart, MU has been absolutely grinding higher. I would expect at some point in time for a pullback to set up here on the MU's chart. The best pullback long is going to be 112 to 115, right? A little bit wide zone here, but this is the best possible pullback long prior to earnings, right? So let's look and see if we can get this to set up. But this is a really nice chart that I want you guys to see. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful break and retest here of 112 to 115, an upside trade. Now, obviously, we have earnings tomorrow session, so things may change, but this is what I'll be watching going into our earnings season, right? Again, we're at 126 right now. It's not going to happen today, but this could happen post-earnings. It could happen, right? Keep that in the back burner. Moving on, let's talk about Meta. Meta's chart. On the Meta chart, Meta moving higher. A little bit of market chatter, discuss possible acquisition of video startup Runway AI. So you do have some acquisitions, some M&A chatter here on Meta, which is causing some upside, it looks like. Where is the level of Meta this morning? It's very clearly in front of us, right? It's 705. You can see 705 is our clear level, our clear pivot. I would even argue today you may want to make an adjustment to this level. If I zoom in, right, you can see where is the clear. No, it's 705, right? You can see no closures above 705 except this one over here, but mostly no closures above 705. If this can clear 705, that's where upside comes in. But right now we're back at supply. This kind of reminds me of SPY's chart, right? This is very resemblant of SPY's chart. If we can get a break retest above this 705, that's where we can look for upside. Break, retest 705, upside trade higher. Look for longs above 705. If we do clear that, back into 710, back into 716. Channel high here though, this is the clear level. Next big demand is 694. 694 is your clear level of demand below. That's all I have on the demand side. Okay. Moving on, I'm going to go over tickers you guys are talking about. Why don't you have that big ass candle up to 740 on Meta? I don't see it here. I don't see anything here on Meta. Nothing here in Meta. 740. Oh, I do have 740. You can see, right? Zooming out over here, 740 previous all-time highs, right? That's where we are. So if we clear 705, upside 710, 716, and then back into the previous all-time highs here, 740. Okay. Moving on. Apple chart. This is so big, right? I know this was not a fun chart yesterday. Trust me, I know it was not big. I know this was shitty. I know it didn't move much. I know it wasn't big. But 200 held yesterday, right? We spoke a little bit about this pre-market, about 200 holding, and this held, right? 200 maintained, big upside off 200, pull back to 200, big upside. Today's session, we are still above 200, and not only that, we have a level here at 202. If I were watching Apple today, I would be looking to see, can Apple form this? And this is so critical right now. Okay, we're breaking out a downtrend here in the hourly. We have a high, we have a low, we have a high. You want this low to form here at 202. If we can form a low here at 202, that's your best possible long entry here. Is it here at 202? So watching that today's session is this 202 demand bounce. Okay, Trills is saying snow, SNOW, snow on the snow chart. Snow chart 215. You can see 215. I don't know. This to me is just a crazy chop fest here. I mean, oh my god. I mean, just like imagine trading this chart. Just absolutely diabolical. This has got to be one of the worst charts I've seen in a long time. Imagine trading snow. This is just crazy. I mean, finally it's breaking above the channel. So this could be where things become. This is where the light. This is where we've now seen, we are now out of the tunnel right here in snow, right? So we've seen the light is there, we are now out of the tunnel, we have just surfaced, okay? We've just surfaced out of that tunnel. So yes, maybe this is what I'll be watching after being in the tunnel for, for a week, 2 weeks, right? You can now look for longs back at demand, right? Look for 214 to hold, that's your long spot today's session. Look for Monday's highs for longs. That's what we're looking for today here in snow, okay? Worse than AMD? Yeah, this is worse than AMD. I mean, imagine. Just look at this chart. I mean, just absolutely diabolical chart. Coinbase chart. On the Coinbase chart, 15-minute time frame, 1 hour time frame. Where is the levels here in Coinbase? 299. This is just. This is interesting, right? Because you are back at these levels here, right? You're getting right close to these previous highs here at 352, 350. Big supply there. Where's previous all-time high? Previous all-time highs here at 367. IPO highs here at 429. So 429 IPO highs, previous highs here at 367. And you have a lower high here, the daily here of 350. And right now, on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, where are we? We are getting there. I mean, we still have some room back into these highs. We are back at supply here. I would say 300 is your key level this morning, right? If you're watching for longs, you're looking for 300. But to me, the closer we get to these previous all-time highs, the more I don't like it, because it just to me looks like it's going to form another daily low, right? Another lower high in the daily time frame and just reject. So for me, I would say, where does it go to? Maybe 350, right? I would say probably 350, but I just don't see a potential trade here today for me. There's no trade here for me going forward on Coinbase. But again, those are levels: 300, 350, 368, and your all-time highs here 429. Okay, BAC chart, right? I mean, this is interesting because look what's going on here, right? BAC finally breaking out of your consolidation, your little consolidation here. I would look for longs here back at demand, right? If you can set up a long trade here back at demand, that's where. If you see us form confirmation here at demand, here at 45.5, right? 45.5 is our demand zone. Then I'll look for longs there. Very simply, 45.5. That's what I'd be watching for on BAC. HIMS. It's cooked, right? I mean, for now this is cooked, right? The reason why is, and I don't even know HIMS, right? I don't even look at HIMS. But remember we said $50 yesterday per share. That was your level, your inflection point. If you failed 50, we're going to go lower. I can almost promise you, I shouldn't promise you, but we're going to look at it. I'm going to say we probably got some sort of break and retest under 350 yesterday, or under 50 yesterday. Not perfect, but you can see it, right? Big downside off the gate, upside push back in the supply here, failure, right? That was what caused downside yesterday, was a failure of this 48.5 to 50 level yesterday. This morning here on HIMS, where are we going to? I think we're probably going lower. Are we going to go a lot lower? Probably not, right? Probably back into 38 now. That's where we're going to, right? That's where this chart should head to, right? If we fail back below 50, which we already have, we go to 38. So expect us to go to 38. That's the next big demand. Could it hold there? Could that be your long opportunity? Yeah, that could be your long opportunity, right? 38 could be your long opportunity. But for now, that's where it should be headed to, okay? That should be where it's going to. Yes, it lost its partnership with HIMS, and NVO moved a little bit down yesterday too. But NVO, what did we say yesterday about NVO, guys? Remember we said this. We said NVO, little downside, buyable opportunity. Now I still have not completed my position here at NVO, so I'm still looking for longs. I still have longs here at NVO, but I need to add more. Uber, Uber chart 86.5, 86.5, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bull flag, right? This is a beautiful bull flag break here at Uber, right? This is actually a really nice bull flag break. So I would argue at this point here on Uber, this is your long opportunity. It's already there. This probably goes back into these highs here at 93 eventually. Where you should be looking for longs now, look for longs there. That's what I'd be watching for. At the 86.5, 87 level for longs. Guys, thank you all for joining in. I appreciate you guys all here. We had a lot of people here this morning. There's a reason why. I think the reason why is because we go over levels here. We make it simple, and I think that's what I think it's what matters. So let's keep doing the same thing we always do, and let's have a good session. If you trade with us, good. If you don't, then good luck as well. I hope you kill it. Bye, guys.